Hello everyone. In today's locomotive profile we're doing is of a large and heavy 482 mountain type. And that is meet the New York, Ontario, and Western Y2 class. They were a small fleet of 10 482 heavy mountains built for a variety of mixed service during 1929 for the New York, Ontario, and Western Railway. The history design for the locomotive is the NYO and W's largest steam locomotive class. Although they are not true steam locomotives design or even built by them, as its roots trace back to the New York Central Railroad. During the late 1920s, the 482 mountain types was really a popular for freight locomotive on the New York Central lines, as the L2 class were produced in large quantities beginning in March 1925, as the L2s were the NYC's largest quantified class of freight steam locomotive for that wheel arrangement. Shortly before the stock market crashed of October 1929, with some saved funds along with the struggling NYO and W finding their Y-class 482s popular, the New York, Ontario, and Western Railway managed to ask special permission to the New York Central to build 10 large steam locomotives based on the NYC L2C design, with the New York Central being good acquaintances working milk trains in upstate New York, with interchanging them with the NYO and W. The the NYC did not have a problem. The NYO and W designed their version of a popular L2C, but by adding a second sand dome for more traction, center side marker lights, and a custom design for large axle tender to fit with the existing turntables that were built longer for earlier Y class. These 10 locomotives were built by American Locomotive Company's Schenectady Works in July 1929. They were classified as the Y2 class, number 451 to number 460, as the NYO and W couldn't afford much. This batch would be the final steam locomotive to be delivered to the New York, Ontario, and Western. Pleasingly, these locomotives were equipped with mechanical stokers, Schmidt superheaters, electric lights, pilot-mounted air pumps, and covered turrets in the front of the cab on top of the firebox. The Y-class was a distant to railroad for using a trailing truck booster, which not many engines were equipped with on the railroad. All their first runs around August 1929 and would remain the newest acquired locomotive on that roster until 1941. When first put into service, these locomotives were the largest and heaviest locomotives ever to have run on the NYO and W, and truly their only super powered type of locomotive ever rostered. These locomotives did very well in revenue service, as they often were used in both passenger and freight service. Despite being a freight-only design, they are often assigned to service works in upstate New York near the Lake Ontario. They easily replaced the X-Class 210-2, also known as the Bull Mooses, as they were faster and had as hard pounding towards the rails, despite the X-Class being slightly more powerful but slower. Even so, during the 1930s, sometimes the Y2s can be used to haul fast local milk trains to regions where the New York, Ontario, and Western was best known for its profit history. In late 1930s, the Y2s received new makeovers as they had their tenders repainted with the W inside O logo, and with majority of them fitted with small push plows for cold hard winters in upstate New York. All of these improvements were made after the first diesel-electric locomotive joined the roster by late 1941. During World War II, as the NYO and W struggled to keep all service going, it was another one of the first railroads to see the advantages of diesel power. As the mid-1940s, they became the first heavy power to leave the roster. Before were some of the 210-2 units. In the early summer of 1945, the Bangor and Aroostook Railway, like many railroads, at the time were they in need of second-hand power to fulfill the increased demands of the war. As the New York, Ontario, and Western began full-scale dieselization early after June 1945. The NYOW sold 5 of the 10 to the BAR, to the BAR, where they became number 120 through 125 for heavy freight service, although not in order. Right after World War II, the NYO and W was ambitious to convert from steam to diesel power as new EMD FT sets arrived on the property later by 1945. The 5 remaining Y2s would be used for any secondary service until the end of steam on the NYO and W around April 1948, as the 5 remaining locomotives were replaced by new orders of the EMD F3s and EMD NW2s in 1948. The railroad scrapped all of them between 1947 to 1948, with number number 451 and number 453 being amongst the last to be scrapped by the NYONW. The second-hand BAR 482s would outlast those on the New York, Ontario, and Western, but not very long at all. And unfortunately for them, they were scrapped, with one unit being February 1948, with the remaining four altogether in June 1949, being the last overall to ultimately retired. And sadly though, none of them see the life of preservation, and all of them are extinct. Which is a shame though, because there's hardly any 482s left out there. Because we have the Frisco's 482s and the Illinois Central's 482s, and not that many of them. They could have at least leave one preserved. And here's some fun facts about them. The NYO and W's Y class were the largest and heaviest locomotives the railway ever owned, despite not being fully true NYO and W design. And the Y class were the very last NYOW steam locomotives to be scrapped, will all have gone off both owners' rosters before 1950. They were the only two class used trailing truck booster engines, with the L1s using them experimentally for a brief period. As the NYO and W did not have much 482s on the roster, for being a smaller railroad, it at least had a good fleet of 20 mountain type steam locomotives, as the Y2 class took up 50% of overall 482 fleet. And that's it for this video. Like and subscribe, and see you later, guys.